am a proud board member of the WBC and an ally of her in the movement to achieve gender equity for women in business. As a 32-year veteran of the staffing and executive search industry, today I will be serving as your host for a panel on improving gender equity in the staffing industry, an effort that the WBC has supported for the last 5 years. And as a result, we have seen some notable progress across the industry, in particular with organic efforts springing up across various groups that support this sector. Today, I'd like to feature some of those organizations and the work that they have done. So if you'll allow me, I'd love to introduce our panelists. First, I'd like to introduce Joanie Bily. Joanie is the division president for Employbridge, the largest industrial staffing company in the U.S. In this executive role, she leads the commercial staffing division for the Southeast and the national professional staffing division, which includes the contact center solutions business, direct hire services, and their office practices. Joanie has served on the board of directors for the American Staffing Association for the past 5 years and is the current chair for the board for the 2024 fiscal year. She's been recognized as one of the top 100 staffing executives in North America in 2023, one of the most powerful women in staffing, that's impressive, by the Staffing Industry Analysts for the 7 consecutive years, and was the recipient of the World Staffing Summit Award in 2021. Joanie, welcome. Glad to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Our second panelist is Francesca Profeta. Francesca is well known for her market research and commitment to promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion. With 20 years in the staffing industry and over a decade as Staffing Industry Analyst, Francesca has played a pivotal role in shaping SIA's DE&I research. Through her research and advocacy efforts, Francesca has shed light on the importance of diversity representation, technology trends, diverse networks, and the benefit of embracing a culture of inclusivity in staffing firms. Francesca, welcome.
Thanks, Kip. Pleasure to be here.
And our third panelist is Megan McCann. Megan is the CEO of an IT staffing firm, McCann Partners, a leader in staffing, recruiting, and technology services. McCann herself is a co-founder of the ARA, a national organization that champions women in technology. Megan's active involvement in the Chicago community, her position on the Techserve Alliance Board of Directors, along with me, Megan and I are both board members there, and her engagement with the American Staffing Association support her effort to create new opportunities for technology talent. Megan, welcome to the panel.
Thank you so much. Great to be with all of you today.
Okay, so as I mentioned, we have seen notable progress through the sponsorship of the WBC in gaining awareness and action towards the gender equity gap, in particular within the staffing industry. To be fair, the industry does lead many other industries across the U.S. with gender mix, but look, there's always more we can do. What I am proud to say is that the progress that we have made as a work stream and with the support of the WBC would not be possible without the several of the key industry associations, lobby groups, and research agencies. And today, I wanted you to hear directly from them, American Staffing Association, Staffing Industry Analysts, and Techserve Alliance, all three of which have been fantastic sponsors. And it is their network reach, it is their insight, it is the research that they produce, and their promotion that has helped make this so successful. So we're going to dive right into this. Joanie, I'm going to start off with you, start off alphabetically, if you will, from the American Staffing Association. The ASA we all know, at least those of us in the industry, but for those of you who don't, is the largest and notably the most influential lobby association for our industry. As I mentioned some of Jody's accolades, she has been a board member for some time and is now the chair. Joanie, can you share some of the key programs that the ASA is driving around gender equity?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again for me to also with Francesca and Megan. ASA has been supporting women up in the staffing industry for launched the Women in Leadership Task Force back in 2015, and it has evolved, truly over the 9 years. But even before I talk about the I have to mention that for the first time in the history of the our board of directors actually have and celebrated our new.
Joe, we are having some pretty difficult time hearing you, unfortunately. I think I heard you say that there's a number of fantastic programs that have been underway. You have your Thrive event. You have a lot of things that have been done. Naming you as a female chair for the board is an amazing commitment. I'm hoping that your latency issues improve, but we definitely have seen an awful lot of progress in the ASA. And again, your membership is so significant, literally in the thousands and thousands of companies. I think it's been invaluable for your efforts. And to be fair, you get the opportunity to represent them today. But you have some amazing team members behind you. Diana Mertz, in particular, who operates on our committee, has just been fantastic. And I know your leadership has been a big embracer of this. We'll try one more time. Could you give us any insight into maybe how your membership view the efforts that you guys are driving?
Yeah, I think an increase of Thrive, both virtual and in person. Our members are sending more and more people to those events, and they want more of those events. Issues, Hurricane Bily.
Joanie, I'm going to translate for you because I know what you're speaking of and am involved with some of the planning. While I sit on the board for Techserve, I'm very passionate around all of what ASA is doing, particularly around women and Thrive. And I believe what you're saying is that we've really increased the number of women attending Thrive, both virtually and in person. And we've also really grown our scholarship program, which is going to significantly impact the trajectory for succession planning and building the next generation of leaders. So there's been much work, not only to support those that are in leadership today, but also to bring forward the next generation of leaders so that they feel supported and really find staffing as a destination that they can. Many of us fall into this. We don't necessarily start out on the passion or on the path of staffing, but once we get there, the work that you're doing is really working to retain those women and give them a foundation of support and sponsorship, and then bringing in our male allies this year as part of that Thrive to continue those efforts. Hopefully I got some of what you were trying to say there.
You did fantastic, Megan. And by the way, Joanie, don't feel bad. I'm looking at my picture and it looks like I'm using a Polaroid from 1973. So I guess this is the day for latency challenges, but hopefully my voice is coming through. Francesca, I'd like to turn it over to you. SIA is unique amongst our partners in the staffing industry, largely because you're a research agency and not necessarily an association, although you've got thousands of memberships that support and participate in the SIA. It is your voice, I say the voice of SIA. Many times that is you speaking and writing your research and your insights that often influence the industry. Can you share some of the research and the programs that SIA sponsored around gender equity?
Sure, yes. So as Kip, you just mentioned, SIA is a global research and advisory firm. So we're focused on the staffing industry and the workforce solutions as a whole. We are not an association, so we do not lobby or engage in those kind of activities. But we aim to provide a lot of support through lots of channels through our research. I do believe it's essential to draw attention to the issues, to initiate those conversations in order to drive that meaningful change. And we hope by doing so, it can inform the industry professionals about subject matters, assist in development strategies, best practices, and then implement those measures, to hopefully measure and improve the progress in all the areas. So as you said, yeah, I do spend quite a lot of my time aiming to bring around this information by addressing the barriers that we all face. So this could be the glass ceiling and discrimination, feminized sectors that we face. And obviously we do face penalties with regard to caregiving and motherhood, should we go down that route. So our research is keystone to everything, but our conferences and our editorial showcase some of the great work that's being done in the industry by others and internally too. So we obviously start off with great leadership. Ursula Williams is our president, and she was a co-author of the book Together We Rise, which recounts the uplifting stories of 15 really passionate and unbreakable lady leaders. This book and all contributions goes to SAA, the charitable fund there, so it helps those scholarships. So that's a great way that we've been able to involve ourselves in them. But our editorial pieces do highlight a lot of work being done in this area. So we do have the Global Power 150 Women in Staffing, and this honours a notable selection of female executives and the achievements, and try to elevate the leadership there. And this is done globally, so 100 in the US, and unfortunately we're less in Europe and APAC. We've only managed to reach 50, so it's the Global 150, hoping to make it a Global 200 at some stage. We do provide game changers for contingent workforce. So this really does highlight forward-thinking contingent workforce managers, professionals, what they're doing in society, what they're doing in order to recruit and mitigate bias in their recruitment processes. And then obviously we do a diversity, equity, and inclusion influencers, and this really does help advance diversity, equity, and inclusion within the staffing industry. So what the staffing industry is doing, and this can really range with regard to diversity as a whole, but also with regard to female participation and lifting them into more managerial roles. So yeah, that's kind of the work that we're doing. And our conferences, of course, we do provide metrics and panel discussions, roundtable facilitations, networking events as well. So I'll be more than happy to pop in the chat some of the free resources that we do, and please feel free to download them. They're free for you guys to review.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be fantastic for the audience. And look, you can go to their website. A lot of that information is featured there. It's easily searchable. So encourage all of our audience members to see that. By the way, I switched cameras, so hopefully that's a little better for everyone. I did notice I was about as grainy as I could be, so it won't be straight. I'll have to kind of remember to look up to the corner, but it is there. All right. Before I do move off of you, Francesca, I think we still have a little bit of time. You helped us in the last 2 years to actually write the research following our 2 benchmark surveys. We've actually done 3, but the last 2 SI volunteered. Any notable insights that you saw in that survey that would be worth sharing?
Yeah, of course. So it was quite a profound, survey that we all did with all the associations. So we tried to reach as many people as we possibly could to get quite a nice overview of the industry and where we stand. So very similar probably to many sectors. Women do comprise of a lot of the internal workforce. However, non-surprisingly, and that's why we're here, we are underrepresented at executive and CEO levels, and especially board levels. So as a whole, we're about 66% of the internal workforce, but this drops down to only about 33% at board seats. So unfortunately, that hasn't changed over, some time. So we'd really like to see some progress in that area. What did surprise me, and I specifically actually asked this question, was how vital this survey shows that women are in elevating other women. So there was a question around responses and how people felt comfortable and how they were progressing with this organisation. So we did find out in a roundabout manner that when the founder of the company was a woman, 84% of the women were CEOs. However, only 70% of the CEOs were female if the founder of the staffing firm was male. So it really goes to show that female representation is key in advancing other women. I really found that quite interesting. One thing that was a little bit shocking to me, despite legislation and so on and so forth, only half of the survey respondents measured and tracked and analysed pay equity. So that's a bit of a problem if we're trying to advance women and their pay and what's important to them, especially as we face many other challenges such as motherhood penalty gaps and so on and so forth. So if we can't even measure it, I'm not too sure how we're going to promote it or progress it. So those are the kind of things that were slightly unnerving for me. But what was nice was that despite the slow progress that we have made, we do actually perform a lot better than the general workplace and the world of the work. So, we have quite a good CEO level and, board membership, only 33%, as I said, but it is better than the Fortune 500, which only has 10%. So we do tend to perform slightly better. What has been interesting this year is that we haven't done a massive overall survey, but we have tried to dig a little bit deeper into the reasons why women are, into the retention really of why female employees are staying within the organisations or why they're leaving. And when we asked them to provide the reasons why they're staying, there were so many reasons. People were they were given so many examples of why they wanted to stay. There were very few reasons why women were actually moving. So for me, that really did highlight that we're reluctant to move. If things are quite good, we would be quite reluctant to move. So organisations, unfortunately, are not getting it quite right. They're still not getting on the bandwagon as to the reasons why we're staying. And the reason we stay in our places and we like to progress is because we have flexibility in our schedules. We have promotion and career advancement opportunities. That's really important to us. And we do need to increase our compensation. That was equal to a strong work-life balance and a good relationship with manager. So all of them were in the top 3 reasons as to why we would stay at a company. But yeah, sorry, Kip, I could go on and talk stats forever, but I'll leave it there unless you want me to.
Yeah, well, we may come back and pick that up. I know Megan has been working with one of our workstream teams on that. I do want to, she may even have some further insight to share. Megan, you and I serve on the Techserve board, and I'm very proud of that. Can you share a little bit of some of your insights into the focus of, if you will, Techserve and how we are helping to lead the way to drive gender equity with its programs and sponsorship?
Sure. Thank you. Absolutely. There's a couple of things I would like to highlight. Number one, about 16 years ago, Leslie Vickery started with Techserve, the Women's Luncheon, and that has grown in influence over the years. And we now also welcome male allies. And that is huge, I think, for a lot of reasons. We're bringing together women to give them a forum, but then we're also welcoming our male counterparts who can often be the ones that are making hiring, firing, advancement, stretch assignment decisions for us. So that has been, I think, the underpinning of a lot of our work. During COVID, we launched the Women's Executive Roundtables. Again, I think one of the really interesting things about the work that Techserve has done, as I've seen it, is really meeting our members where they are. And this was a program that came out of all of us being at home and needing to find ways to support one another. So we've had more than 100 women participate in the roundtables. They continue today. They are Techserve women led. So we're really dealing with the topics that are top of mind right now. So it's kind of like right in time conversation around the things that are happening in our industry. And then a lot of us will also bring in guest speakers. We generally have between 20 and 30 individuals for each session. The other thing that Techserve has been very mindful of is for our executive summit every year, better than a third of the speakers that are part of the agenda are diverse speakers. So certainly that covers women as well as other underrepresented organizations. We have really looked at strategic partnerships. We talked a little bit about the survey. You mentioned it, Kip. Francesca alluded to it. We launched in partnership with the WBDC, SIA, ASA, Clearly Rated, and NAPS, the Why Women Leave Staffing Industry Workplace Survey. I need to look at my notes to make certain I got the full title. And that we've started to see some really interesting data there that will be shared collectively so that we can continue to, bring women to our industry, make it a welcoming place. We're going to actually extend the deadline for that sponsorships or that survey. So if there's anyone part of the call today who has not taken the survey, I will drop it in the chat. There's still time. If you're part of the staffing industry, your voice needs to be heard. And then the last thing I would say is we really have changed over the last handful of years board recruitment. At one point for Techserve, board members were referred as part of a chapter process. And Techserve really wanted to take a look at board compensation, knowing that there aren't enough women in the board. How can we change how we're doing things in order to fill the funnel at the top to bring more diverse candidates, not just women, but more diverse candidates to the board to be inclusive of the voice of all Techserve members. And so that has been a program that has been progressing over the years. And last, we do ask our members to self-identify. So there are resources on the Techserve website where you can search for diverse vendors. And that's another way to highlight the diverse people that are part of the Techserve organization.
Yeah, I think you and I have had some fantastic and I think extremely constructive conversations around the progress that's been made. While we agree there's an awful lot more that can and should continue to be done, my recommendation would be just in general, not specific to Techserve, that it does help to have a good pool of candidates to select from. I know Techserve is going through its current board recruitment process, open it up for applications, and so I'd encourage any female leaders out there who are interested. Let's make sure we have good representation. I think that's a big one. Joanie, I thought I saw you put something in your ear. Maybe your microphone is working. You want to give it a try?
Hear me? No?
Well, yes. Okay, try again.
Well, I was trying. I think Hurricane Helene is impacting my.
Okay. All right. It is definitely, we're catching you in and out, but that is okay. So, all right, so we have made tremendous progress. I have to ask now an inverse question, which is how have efforts, because the WBC, obviously, I am passionate about what we're trying to do. And as an ally of her, and I'll put this call out for other men, it is important that the movement sees that men are supportive of driving gender equity for women in business. And more important, I will tell you for my male colleagues out there, you're going to learn a lot more about what you thought you knew and understood to be the challenges and what truly are. So I would encourage all of you who are out there to participate. But I'll ask this question very quickly. How has the WBC helped ASA, SIA, or Techserve Alliance with gender equity efforts? How has that fed back the other way? And maybe I'll start. Joanie, we'll give you one more try. Let's do it.
Yeah, I would hope you can hear me because it's great. ASA has really valued the partnership with the WBC and lots of work on research and programs together. I really feel like strong together. I'm not sure if you heard anything I said or not.
We did actually. That was probably about as good as we've had. So it's fantastic. I'll kind of go backwards. Megan, what do you think? Techserve.
Here's what I would say. I think we're in an interesting time right now with the backlash that's happening across the United States and beyond on DEI initiatives and programs. And so I think the more that we can come together to be very prescriptive in action, that's really change is going to come. And so I think when we can come together and realize that we're stronger together than individually, that's going to make all the difference for our industry and beyond.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then we'll switch that over to Francesca. What do you think?
I think the relationships that we've all formed have been actually really critical. It's given us an insight into really what clients and what people want, what the industry wants. It can really assist us in the research that we provide, and to better use that to aid progress. So the relationships have been fantastic. Working together with all of the groups has for me personally has been great. I love our monthly calls, and sometimes it is a little bit like therapy. You're like, oh, this is not happening, or this is not. So we're sort of in it together. And that has been a great thing for all of us, I think. So it does definitely help us have a better understanding of what the industry needs and how we can work towards making progress. Definitely has been fantastic for that.
That's awesome. All right, we have 4 minutes left, so I'm going to have us close with each of you, if you would, and I'll give you just a minute to kind of think about this. But I'd love to get one round advancing women in leadership within the organization. So, like, what would one takeaway be from you for the audience around this important topic? And we're going to start with Megan, then we're going to try with Joanie, and we'll close out with Francesca. So, Megan.
Speak another woman's name when she is not in the room for the promotion or the stretch assignment.
Ooh, I like that. That is fantastic. Joanie.
I love, I say, women involved and encourage other people to network. Wonderful group represented today. We need more women to help make the change.
Yeah, so get involved and network is part of what I heard you say. I hope I captured that right. Absolutely believe that. I think it's interesting. I love the speak their name, because if you're not there and you're not heard, and if you're not present in the mind of those that are looking through and trying to consider opportunities, projects, whatever the case may be, it's a missed opportunity. And the networking piece is where I see so much value in how that has improved things, in the camaraderie that is there with female leaders that participate in the luncheons and in the Thrive events and the SIA panels, and it's amazing. So I would say those are two amazing ones. Francesca, what are your closing?
I'm definitely all for female representation leading to further female representation, but I'm going to be a little bit more strategic with my financial prowess, and I would definitely advise people to take a look at their gender parity pay and really try and narrow that gap, narrow it by gender, by ethnicity, and definitely you will have a happier workforce. So that's my tangible thing to do.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I'm sure you could also quote some of the surveys out there. There's still a pretty significant difference. I mean, it's higher than 25%, maybe closer to 30% difference in pay gap.
Globally, it's 20%. So yeah, we're definitely in higher in certain ages. But then it does depend on ethnicity, and it does depend on if you've got children. So there's many factors. But let's start having a review.
It's a simple one, and one I actually put my predecessor company through kind of an unbiased review, and when they can present the results, I was a little embarrassed. So I think that's definitely something we could look at. So be well, be safe, and thank you again for joining us.